Okay, so um, Gotham finished, and I was like, "Hey Cap, Gotham literally just finished. I watched it. I should make a video. I should make a video. That's what I do." And Cap was like, "Yeah, but each of your videos has been later and later. Wouldn't it be funny if this one was super late?" And I said, "I don't think people are gonna like that, Cap." And he said, "No, make it even later. It'll be really funny." So a couple of weeks went by, and I was like, "Hey Cap, should I make that Gotham video?" And he was like, "No, it'll be really funny if you just keep waiting, just make it later." And then months went by, and seasons changed, and uh, I was like, "Hey Cap, should I finally make that Gotham video?" And he was like, "What are you talking about that? Like a week ago, it stopped being funny. You should have made the video like a week ago." And I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I should make that video." That's not all what happened, but it's funnier. Um, so the Gotham finale. Weeks late, 2, 3 weeks late. Sorry. If you live in Florida, you know that we've basically just been in a constant storm for like 2, 3 weeks straight. Um, so I'm finally doing this video. Um, what to say about the Gotham finale? I think everything that I have to say, I believe I came to an epiphany about this show. Um, Involving Clayface Gordon. So in this episode, Clayface Gordon uh, is the worst acting that has ever been on Fox television, like prime time. um, it made me think of Power Rangers, kind of like Bulk and Skull, or like if a Power Ranger was supposed to like hit with a "you're bad now" beam, and they started being bad. Um, it's really really bad, hysterically bad, and no one notices. Jim Gordon has a completely different personality and a completely different voice, and no one notices. Now, it looks like Harvey notices, because Harvey asks him like a question. He's like, "Hey, you remember that time we did that thing?" And he's like, "Of course I remember that time. I was there." He's like, "You remember that thing I said to you?" And he was like, "Nah, I don't remember that thing." And like, you think I'm joking with the voice I'm doing. I'm not. That is literally how he talks. He's like, "Listen here, babe." Um, and then Barbara shows up, and he's like, "Hey, you want to have sex?" And she's like, "Really? Like you're cool with me now?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I am. Why wouldn't I be?" And then um, she's like, "Well, what about you know, uh, what about Leslie Tompkins?" And he's like, "Ha, that hoe. I don't care about her." And then she's like, "You're not Jim Gordon." Oh, and then she slaps him, and his face is all like pushed and shoved. Um, and that's when I realized, oh, I am literally watching Power Rangers. I'm watching Power Rangers for adults, with the exact same acting level and sense of humor. And then the entire show clicked into place. I don't know if they know they're making Power Rangers, but they're making Power Rangers. And my enjoyment of the show increased even more. I already love the show because it's crazy. Now I love it because it's a show that's made for adults with the sensibilities of a low budget kid show, and that's fantastic. And that's what this entire episode is. In certain ways, a lot happens this episode. In certain ways, not a lot happens in this episode. Like, we have a lot of scenes. We actually have two scenes where Gordon's being interrogated and Bruce and Lucius are being interrogated that are the same scene. We're just trying to find out if they know who runs the facility, and they both know it's Wayne Industries. And then it's, well, do you know, who runs Wayne Industries? And neither of them know that it's the Court of the Owls. Now, Gordon is told that there is a secret society running Gotham. Um, in uh, in Hugo Strange's interrogation, he's like, "Well, have you heard of a secret society that's running Gotham?" And Jim Gordon's like, no, that seems ridiculous, right? Like, how could one secret society of rich people run Gotham? And he's like, oh, well, forget I mentioned it. And they leaves. Here's the thing. At the end of this show, uh, only Jim Gordon knows that, and he leaves. And doesn't tell anyone about the Court of the Owls. It's it's kind of ridiculous. Um, Fish Mooney is back in Fish Mooneying in a show of bad performances and like really insane over the topness. She's the only one I genuinely don't like. And I'm not sure why. I mean, like I don't particularly like her as an actress in general. Um, but everyone else is giving these really weird over the top performances, and it's enjoyable because it's really schlocky, just awful television. Hers, there's a self-importance to it that makes it feel like she thinks she's doing a good job, and the show has to like go out of its way to show you how cool she is. Um, and I don't care. I don't like her. They shouldn't have brought her back. They do some really dumb things. They do dumb things that don't even pay off. Like, uh, first of all, the food tray we saw in the previous episode that there's this like food tray, this giant food tray slot that they open up to give her food. Um, and in this episode, it's just open, and she's just like waving her arm around like outside of the thing, trying to grab the doctor that works with Hugo Strange, who we get her name a bunch of times in this, but I can't remember. It's something really really generic. Um, but Fish Moon's just like waving her arm around, just trying to like it's through the hole, and she's just trying to grab her, and she doesn't grab her. And then later, she touches her and takes control of her, but it's not it's not like they continued to leave that hole open and like she finally got her. Like it's just in a completely different situation. Like why they would leave that food hole open for a bunch of inmates that are crazy and have superpowers, I don't know. And then there's this really weird scene when she's kind of taking control of the facility and she's talking to Hugo Strange, and Hugo Strange is like, I love you more than anyone has ever loved you. I love you like my own daughter. And he's like, but don't make me kill you. And it was weird. It was really weird. Because, like, I kind of get that, like, I think the implication is, like, he loves his creations and he's, like, a crazy person. But it played weird. It played like those characters were supposed to have some kind of history that they don't have. Um, like the way the scene played, it made it seem like he raised her. It was weird. Bruce is going after the threat behind the threat. Maybe I guess Bruce did find out that there's the Core of the Owls. He knows there's a threat behind the threat, so he's going after that now. There's this real like 90s sitcom moment where like uh Alfred's like, well, now that mess is over and you can go back to being a real child. And then Bruce is like, no, I found out. There's a threat behind the threat. I'm gonna go after that threat. And Alfred just gives this like he just kind of like looks at the camera and like I'm waiting for the like wah wah like sound effect, and it never comes. Um, Bullock continues to be amazing. He's just a terrible character who has no like perception like beyond himself. Like Jim Gordon's he doesn't notice Jim Gordon is being the way he is, and it's completely insane. Um, like Jim Gordon, the guy who has backed down from no threat ever, shows up, and he's Bullock's like, so did you find out who's like running the facility? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna leave him alone. Oh well, like who are they? They're bigger than us. They're much bigger. They're too powerful. We can't deal with them. Oh well, I mean, like if you say we can't deal with them, we certainly can't deal with them. And then like that's the end of the scene. It's insane. Um, and then there's The craziest part of the entire episode is that there's a nuclear bomb underneath of the facility and it's gonna explode. And Gordon and Lucius go to disable the bomb, and they have this brief conversation that is maybe my favorite conversation in the entire show, where he asks Lucius if he's any good at disabling a bomb, and Lucius is like, I've never disabled a bomb. He goes, what about you? And then Gordon just goes, eh. As if it's like origami or like drawing or a really standard skill that like you can just be kind of at. Like, are you any good with a bow and arrow? Eh. I've never heard of like bomb disabling as like just a skill you can like be okay at. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then they go to disable the bomb, and the woman that works with Hugo Strange is there, and she goes, water. You need water. Because Jim Gordon was about to just rip out all of the wires. He goes, what do you think would happen if I just ripped out all the wires? And Lucius is like, well, there's nothing to turn it off. So theoretically, maybe it wouldn't ruin everything. Maybe it won't explode. And he's like, all right, I'm going to rip out all the wires. And then the woman wakes up and she's like, water. No, you need water. And so they go and they get water and they pour water on it. I think this might be supposed to be an allusion to Dark Knight Rises because it's a bomb that looks almost exactly the same. And there was that flooding mechanism in Dark Knight Rises, so I think it's supposed to be an allusion to that, but they pour water on it, that seems to fix it. And then she's like, water. I really need water. I'm really thirsty. And then they look at each other and have, like, again, a moment where, like, it feels like there should be, like, wah, wah, wah. I don't even know what to do with that. Like, how did that end up in the show? Like, again, grown humans are making this television series. Like, how was that allowed to happen? And it was random. Like, we've never seen no one fish moving is controlled needs water afterwards. Like, I don't know what that was. Like, it was contrived writing and bad writing, and in some ways insanely brilliant writing at the same time. And then we get to the end, and there's this bus with all of the freaks that Hugo Strange has been making. And the door's slightly ajar, and there's this old woman. She comes up and she opens up the door, and all of these freaks come out. One of them is probably Killer Croc. He's kind of got like crocodile skin. I couldn't make out any of the other ones. Maybe people can tell me who the other ones are. One of them had like a mask, it looked like a Mortal Kombat mask. Maybe he's Bane. I don't know. But I couldn't really make out any of them really outside of the Killer Croc guy. And then the last one shows up, and it's Bruce Wayne, or presumably a clone, or, this is Gotham. Maybe he's the real Bruce Wayne. The Bruce Wayne we've been following is a clone, but something that's Bruce Wayne, but with long hair. This show is Power Rangers. Like I finally realized. Like, I was like, oh, this is what this show is. It's Power Rangers, but they're allowed to curse a little bit and talk about sex. And they're allowed to, like, murder people. Oh, I forgot to mention that Penguin shows up with Butch, and Butch has a Tommy gun. That's the thing that happens. Penguin just has access to fantastical firearms now. That's great. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for more of that. Can't wait for... what could they do after, like, not a Tommy gun, sorry, a minigun? What could they do after a minigun and a bazooka? Like, they're gonna have to keep scaling that up. Next time, is he gonna have, like, a rail gun? I hope there's a rail gun in this show. That would be amazing. But, so, I guess in summation, I think we can all agree, and we've all come to the mass conclusion that this is the single greatest season of television that's ever been televised on television. It's brilliant. It's a masterpiece. I haven't read any interviews for this show. I read some interviews at the end of season 1, and people, like, I remember the guy who plays Gordon was like, oh, people are going to be so shocked, like how dark we go with this. And it was really unfortunate because that interview came out like 2 weeks after Daredevil. And I maybe should look at interviews because I legitimately can't believe that people think they're making a serious television show. But where they're airing it, like they have to think that, right? Like they don't think they're making Power Rangers for grown-ups. Um, but that's what they're making, and it's brilliant, and I love it, and it's fantastic. Of all of the superhero shows on television, I mean, I'm not watching all of them, but this is easily the most enjoyable to watch. Um, it's just madness incarnate, and uh, there are things you get away with when you're writing a children's show. Uh, Cartoons do this, live action shows like Power Rangers do this. There's certain things you get away with. There's leaps in logic, things that don't actually make any sense, but it's okay because kids won't know. This show has all of those things, but it's made for grown-ups. Like this isn't a kids show. I wouldn't let children watch this. But it has all of those like just logical insanities. Like I don't I don't know how this show is being made. I don't know how it was renewed for another season. And I don't know how normal people seem to be enjoying it as a real television show. Like, this is not a real television show. This is Power Rangers. Um, but I I'm gonna keep watching it. Like, the worst thing that could happen is if season 3 tone shifts and like they try to be like a dark, serious television show. Because none of these people are capable of doing that. And after these 2 seasons, like I can't imagine. But that's my big fear, is that they try to take this material seriously, or they are trying to take this material seriously, and they get new people that actually know what serious is. That's my big fear for the next season. Um, but hopefully the show stays as completely insane bonkers as it is, and I'm kind of excited to see who those villains are and their crazy takes on the villains. Um, and I'm just gonna assume that they will completely forget that their personalities are supposed to be like written by Strange. Um, and you're gonna get stuff that just doesn't make any like Firefly already doesn't make sense as like a personality that you would create because it's based on nothing. Um, but I'm hoping we get like weirder and weirder things that more and more are like, well, you wouldn't program that into a person. Like there's nothing to base that on. Um, so yeah, Um, it's great. It's wonderful. Everyone should be watching it. If you didn't watch this season when it hits Netflix, just binge it. Like it'll just I mean, it might be dangerous if you binge it. Like you might end up as like foaming from the mouth, just like in a seizure, like stammering. So maybe don't binge it. But when it hits Netflix, you should definitely watch it because it's phenomenal. Like it's the best. It's the best. It's just the best show on television. Game of Thrones, I don't even know other things people watch. I watch a lot of things that people don't watch. Um, I can name off the things that I like. Game of Thrones, Powers, The Strain. Um, this is tops. It's the best. Once this hits Netflix, it's gonna go right to the top of the charts because it's just the best. You know, Seinfeld, Californication, Friends, all of these things, they will fall to the wayside because season 2 of Gotham will hit Netflix and everyone will watch it. And maybe we'll get in the mouth of madness and just everyone will just go mad and reality will shift and everything will become Gotham. It's my hope.